So I'm sure many of the guys who will be watching this already know me, but for those who don't, my name is Viggo. I am a 15-year-old kid. I like to write and create content on Twitter, but I'm also moving on to YouTube right now. So you could call me a content creator, and I also study full time. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's you, dude. That's so awesome. And you've been on Twitter for
Six months now.
6 months now. Okay, okay, sweet. Let's dig right into it. I'm literally so excited for this call. Vigo, you are Vigo, right? Vigo,
Yeah, Viggo.
Vigo. Okay, you are literally infamous on this space. So let's get into the creator economy, man. Like, what got you pivoted onto X, and now you're pivoting into YouTube? What does that look like for you, man?
Yeah, man. I've been pivoting so much on my entire journey, and I think that's just a super important skill to learn how to pivot. And so, to how I got into Twitter was that I like anyone. I was into like self improvement. I had all the books and all of those kind of things. I read them, but I felt like I had a big problem with actually executing on them and actually getting them into my mind. So I just had a brilliant idea after I read, I think, Still Like an Artist, or it was maybe Show Your Work or something like that. And I wanted to start a blog, so to like document the books I was reading. Well, mostly was just like books I was reading and my notes and that kind of stuff. So I started a blog where I talked about like the books I was reading and the stuff I was learning about around self improvement. And then I encountered a problem that no one was reading it. No one reads a random blog on the internet. Like, yeah, there's no source of traffic to come to it. So I thought the best way to get a blog on to get people to read my blog where I write is to go to the platform Twitter, where everyone already is writing. So yeah, that's how I got into Twitter, and I started writing, and I wrote almost every day. I set a goal to write every day, and yeah, so I did, and I just found like Twitter was much more fun than actually writing the blog. So I just pivoted into Twitter. So that's how I found Twitter.
Dude, that's super cool. So I could take this two ways: reading or uh, your journey on Twitter. So first, I kind of want to dig into how you differentiated your way into your own niche on Twitter, and how that looked like for you in the beginning, and how you would go about it now.
I think a big differentiator. My English is
No,
still
it's
not
okay.
very strong, but yeah, I think the biggest thing that made me set me apart from the other people was that, of course, I'm a little kid. Like I didn't talk like all this, grown up business people here on Twitter. I just talked like I normally did, in my tweets and then my posts and everything like that. So I think much of the things that set me apart from other people was my unique way to talk and my, you could say, childish way to encounter to solve problems, which is both good and bad in both ways. But yeah, I think what really differentiates me is my age, and the way I came into my own niche was just like creating content and explaining my own thoughts. And then as I dive deeper on those, and as I maybe publish something every day with a different thought, I sometimes find one that I actually like the most, and just slowly like dive into it, just until it actually like gets embodied into my entire brand. So
Yeah.
I think that's how I really developed a brand. I don't think you find a niche like at a random point you sit down with a piece of paper. I think that you like slowly phase into it, especially if you're a beginner creator.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you've built this amazing brand that you've got going on, I know you've mentioned some really big goals, but you're pivoting it into YouTube now. And what is that process looking like? And would you recommend that for people at your stage, or is that just kind of another passion project for you?
Yeah, it's another passion project. Like YouTube, starting YouTube, of course, it's also a good bit move in terms of like business and making money. Of course, because video content, the people get to see your face, and they get to see how you actually explain things when it's not just text on a screen. You get a much more personal connection, and you can also explain and dive deeper onto like different topics and different ideas. So the reason I'm diving into YouTube is because it's a passion project. And right now, my process for getting into going into YouTube and also transferring my audience to YouTube, I've been thinking a lot about how I'm going to transfer my audience to YouTube. Um, And if you look at my page, I've already done two of kind of transfer posts, if you could call it that, where I would just like write a normal post, and at the end of the post, I would say, I'm going to post a video about this, or I'm just launching a new channel. Do you want to get the super secret link? Comment Philadelphia or something, and you will get it.
Okay.
So it also creates like this sense of scarcity. If I just said like plug the link under my post and said, yeah, here's my new channel, nobody would subscribe. But if I say comment this and this and this, and I'll send it to you, if it's much more exclusive. So I already like got to 45 subscribers from just doing that, which was super helpful for the
Heck
start.
yeah. Dude, that's awesome. So, on top of that, you say like exclusivity and also like using that psychology part. As you've started writing on X, obviously you've learned a little bit more about emotions on X, leading
Oh yeah.
into like tone and voice and stuff like that. What would you give for like beginners on tips for that kind of stuff?
I think it's a thing of just experience. You can't really learn into understanding emotions and the psychology of creating content. I mean, if you look at my first tweets, it sounds, yeah, they give me brain rot. Like those tweets are so bad. Like reading those old tweets, I like the words aren't even working together, because when I started, I barely even knew English. Like in Sweden, we learn some English in school, but yeah, the education system is just so horrible. So you basically don't learn anything. So the only English I knew was basically from watching YouTube and watching, all the self improvement stuff and reading books. So yeah, I I had to first learn the English language basically, and then learn psychology. So I think for most people it will be a lot quicker. But I think that if you want to learn more about how to use emotions in your content, just write more and analyze what all the kind of content that already works.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. So you learned through just reading and things of that nature. Did you start with just English based books and go from there and then improve your reading speed in English from there? And how would that transfer into someone who, say, is an English speaker? What would you recommend for them to improve their reading speed?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I've always been a pretty quick reader in
Mm-hmm.
Swedish and now English too, as I've learned that language more like thoroughly. So I think that reading speed is something that is really hard to improve if you without like super long hard work on it, because reading isn't. I think people get wrong about the thing people get wrong about reading is that they don't read because they care about the contents of the book. They read because the people they want to be be seen as a reader, like a person who reads hundreds of books, and so they're so stuck in the identity of becoming a reader that they just forget to actually read. So I think that you shouldn't really focus on the reading speed. You should more focus on if you're able to read a book and you're able to sit down and reflect and actually like take in what the book is saying.
Mm-hmm.
So to improve your reading speed, there's of course like smaller things you can do, like follow the text with your finger or the different tactics that the YouTube gurus say. But I think the most important thing is that isn't the reading speed itself, but the practice of reading and actually taking in the book.
I think this is the best answer you could have given, honestly. I think so many people are so focused on like the small little tactics nowadays that
Yeah.
it takes away the entire point of what they're actually doing. So, you mentioned this reflection and things upon in that nature. What is your reading routine like? What does it look like, and how has it changed and evolved, and where do you see it going?
Well, I started out as the people on TikTok that say like, I read 100 books this week. Here are my top 10 favorite books. And I started out because I wanted to say I read a lot of books, and that's how I started out with reading. Um, but and I was just like skimming through them, basically not even picking up a single thing they said in the book. But as I kept on reading and my reading style has evolved, I'll actually say I think I have a book I just read. Okay, no, it's not. I can't get it right now. It's not here. But yeah, so the way I do it, take the book, I read it like slowly, pretty slowly. Sometimes to pick up like more about the contents of the book, I read like with an audiobook while I also
Mm.
read. and like match at the same time, because that's also a way to improve your reading speed. Um, but I just go through it. I usually like just highlight pen, like the sentences I like and the ideas I really appreciate, and then I just put a little tag on where I highlighted.
Hmm.
And most of the books I read, and most of the books like self improvement books and business books and psychology books, they're made in a way that there are usually like maybe 4 modules, and then like in each module there's maybe 5 chapters or something. So what I do, is I just read every chapter like normally, but at the end of each module, I'll go over all of my highlights, and there's usually like a blank page at the end of a module. So I'll just take that blank page and just do basically 1 page of notes of everything that I learned. So basically, when I've finished a book, I have 4 pages of notes that all summarize the book.
Hmm.
So whenever I want to like go over the book again, I can just go over my notes instead of reading the highlights and trying to like comprehend the bigger picture of the book all again over again.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
would say that's my system right now. It can be evolved. I thought about ways you can evolve it with like flashcards, and there's a super good software called Anki
I
where you
love
can
Anki.
plug in. You know Anki?
Oh, it's so awesome, dude. I use it for literally everything.
Oh my god, dude! I've never met a person that actually uses Anki. What the hell?
Dude,
Yeah,
it's so basic, but it's so awesome.
yeah. I've took like a 2 hour course on Anki. Yeah, but yeah, we're getting sidetracked. So you can obviously like take flashcards and put them into Anki and do like every 30 days repeat the book, and of course that way you will probably like absorb every book you read. But yeah, that's not something I've tried yet.
Yeah, so the way I actually use Anki, I'm gonna inject a little something here. The way I use Anki for my reading is something that I do with my reading is I, instead of highlighting and asking like or and summarizing it, I ask questions about the book so that I'm allowed to do big picture thinking. And so I go into Anki, I just type in like I make the book flash deck, and I just put in like 10 to 15 questions that like that book really sparked in me, and I answer those like maybe once a week, 2 times a week. Or sometimes I'll do like an end of the month reflection, and I'll just go through those really quick and just fill out like a big notebook of just everything that I'm thinking in reflection to that book.
Damn, that's brilliant actually. What the hell? So yeah, I've heard about that. Like what's it called?
Active recall.
Active recall. Exactly. Yeah. So that's basically what you're doing there, right?
That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, it's a big thing. Ali Abdal talks about it a little bit, I think. But yeah,
Love Ali Abdal. I
Ali
love him.
is so awesome. And the way he's pivoting now, like, I love where he's taking everything, and he has like 4 book ideas that he's working on. It's so cool.
Yeah, I just got his book. I haven't read it yet, but
Oh,
super excited to
really?
read.
I haven't gotten it
Yeah,
yet. I really want to. You'll have to let me know how that goes. Maybe I'll get it.
yeah. I've read like reviews on Goodreads. They're always so mixed on the on the books. But I heard some say it's just super bad, some say it's super good. So I'm really excited to read it and actually have like a good
Yeah.
read on it.
Yeah, it's just like Dan Coe's book though. Everyone like slightly dogged on it, and then some people were like, "Oh, this is the best book ever." And it's like, pick
Yeah,
one.
it's people always have different perceptions of these kind of books.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you've worked through all of this reading and stuff like that, what does your day look like regarding like productivity and time management? Because obviously you do a lot. And so, what does that look like? Maybe not on a day to day basis, because I know you've taken recently 2 weeks off and everything. But how's that looking?
Yeah, so taking those 2 weeks off was just like the biggest pivoting moment ever. So after that, I have actually gotten a system to basically kind of uh, make my days a little bit more systemized. I haven't done the the what's it called, perfect week kind of thing, ideal week thing. Yeah, it's something I want to do. But for how my days are structured, I aim to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, because I like to do a little bit of writing in the morning, because I'm normally much more creative in the morning. But to be realistic, usually I don't wake up at 6 a.m. Like it's my goal. I maybe 50% of the time I do, but at the weekend I never wake up at 6 a.m. because it's the weekend, and I've got friends, and it's a kind of balance being like a 50-year-old kid and also doing all these kind of things. because so many what the problem I'm seeing, so many, other kids were on self-improvement and have seen this kind of thing. They want to start a business. They trap themselves in like this loop of just using self-improvement and using building a business as an excuse to not be with friends and not socialize and not actually live life.
Hmm.
So I think that you need to balance having a social life and also building a business, especially when you're a young kid, because of course you can read all the books and you can read all the self-improvement, but no self-improvement book will ever compete with actually having real life experience. Like you can read a book that you should I don't know, quit partying, but it will never compare to going on a party and having a shit party and having that as a consequence to never going to a party again.
Hmm.
So I think that you really have to balance living a life and of course doing the business kind of things. So that's how I normally structure my days. I try to carve out as much time as humanly possible to actually work on this business and write and create content. Usually early in the morning or later at night. And then we in Sweden we usually have school from 8 a.m. to like 3 p.m. And after that I might go home, take some do some exercise, and I try to do the work either later at night or at the moment I get home.
Hmm.
I don't like to do it in the middle of my free time or whatever you want to call it, because usually then I just sit on my phone. So I'm after school I would get home, eat some yogurt with berries and honey maybe, and yeah, then just get to work. I usually have like an outline of what I will write or what I will work on from a checklist, and yeah, I just work, and I then turn off at 9, no, not 9 p.m. You 9 p.m. is when I turn off for the day.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, fascinating. And so obviously you don't spend all day every day like some of these people even my age or like younger, older do. So what does your content strategy look like regarding not even like the type of content, but like writing it?
I mean, I used to have, after my 2 week break, I made a system to make
Hmm.
the content process much more simpler and much more easier to make. But now as I'm pivoting more into YouTube and more into longer form content, it's not as structured anymore. As you might have seen today, I didn't even post anything, and it's because I first of all I didn't feel like posting, and I feel like when I don't feel like posting and I don't have this like creativity in me, I shouldn't write a post. So
Hmm.
I didn't today. Instead, I just sat down and I wrote a thread and I started on a YouTube video script, and then I hopped on this call. So yeah, I think it's could you repeat the question? I think I've got a little bit lost here.
No, you're a okay. I was asking you what your content strategy is and like how it's evolved.
Yeah, exactly. So now as I'm moving over to longer form content, I, I'm um, I'm writing more threads. I'm trying to write like 4 threads every week, so doing like less content but higher quality content.
Yeah.
Because normally I would post like times a day, and that's just super exhausting. Like I couldn't pump out 4 quality posts with a quality idea that I really felt proud of. That really was my idea, like coming from my brain and not something I've stolen from someone else. So yeah, I'm moving over to 1 post a day right now. But instead of just like doing one normal boring post a day, I'm trying to like put as much quality as I humanly can into
Yeah.
it. So I've got some systems like these super messy spreadsheets for running threads and YouTube videos, but that's pretty much the content system I use right now. I've written a thread before on like the short form content system I used to use, but at the moment it's pretty chaotic, and I'm trying to find some kind of system to work for this one high quality post a day system.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying you're scripting your YouTube and everything. How many times do you plan on posting? And I mean, imagine it'll change, of course, but what is your beginning content strategy as you pivot over to YouTube?
Yeah, I sat down for like an hour, maybe 3 days ago or something, and tried to sketch out a kind of content system or how I would my upload schedule would be. And so I've decided that I want to do 3 podcasts every week. I don't know when I'm starting it, but I have some books calls booked for this week, and I'm probably stocking up on a lot of videos so I can just have a week when I can have like all the YouTube posts actually like schedule out, so I don't have to. So I mean, already have a bunch of videos like lined up, ready to be posted. So the upload schedule right now is looking like I think 3 to 4 threads every week, and where those threads, one of those threads, which is the one that performs the best, I will turn into a YouTube video. I'm kind of using the writing the threads as a way to like test the ideas and see if one thread performs well. That's a sign that it would also perform well as a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So I'm making like one you could say like yeah, normal YouTube video, like 10 minutes explaining one idea kind of thing. And then 3 podcasts every week.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten started on this yet though. I've just done a mass DM streak to like a lot of creators to get them on the podcast, and I have like a lot of podcasts booked in, but I haven't posted anything yet because I'm still stacking up on videos.
Yeah, absolutely. All I would recommend as someone who's done a podcast for a little over 2 months now, make sure you have a backlog of of videos recorded because I am. This is my second week I've missed one because I've had 4 cancellations, and so scheduling sucks. But
Damn, that's annoying.
it's so bad. And I'll be like sitting here already, and then yeah, they cancel. I mean, one of them like had a kid. One of them had something happen in the hospital, and I'm like, okay, cool, I get it. Life happens, but yeah, make sure you got a backlog, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I experienced that too. I did a lot of outreach. I had one call booked for I think it was Monday. Yeah, yesterday. I had my call booked, but yeah, I had to cancel that because you know, school.
Yep.
So of course life happens, but yeah, you're going to have to do a backlog. Yeah. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah, definitely. And then also another tip that I got from Camila, make sure you text them like 24 hours beforehand. Otherwise, they're not coming. Or at least like 6 to 8. Give them a little bit of a buffer, but I'm terrible about it. Yeah. So 3 podcasts. Do you have like a basis of what your podcast is going to be around, or is it just kind of whoever hops on, you're going to just kind of
Yeah,
crank
you
it
just,
out?
I at the moment I just DM people I want to talk to,
Yep.
like I'm interested in, and that way is also like creating a kind of niche in itself because I'm interested in pretty niche stuff. So I've got yeah, some people that's already good at writing threads. I have the storytelling king Benjamin Chan coming on, and yeah, I have a lot of people booked in, but yeah, so I think it's gonna be more around my own interesting stuff I want to learn about. Yeah, that's probably the yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. It seems all of the projects and businesses you've built have been around a passion, and I think that's probably why you're more successful than the 75-80%. Um,
Yeah, it's better to just follow what you actually want to do instead of making money. But I think it's also like an unfair advantage of me, like being a little tiny whiny kid living at my parents' house. Like I don't have to worry about making any money. I don't have to worry about spending my time in the absolute hyper best way possible because I'm just a kid, and if I fail, nothing happens because I still live at my parents.
yeah. I also just think that's big. Even like me, I'm almost a 20-year-old. If I fail, it's not the end of the world. I mean,
Yeah.
money isn't necessarily real. Even when you get into the big kid world, like that's what credit cards are for. I'm kidding. But so man, okay, passion projects, things like that. Let's maybe dive into like the future of creating. I know everyone obviously wants to make money. I think that's just a natural human drive. But what is the future of your creating?
Yeah. um I know we talked about this before, but long form,
Hmm.
definitely long form. I started out writing on Twitter because it's just so low barrier to entry. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to be good at creating content. You just have to know how to press buttons on a keyboard. You can. It's the only platform when you can write one sentence and post it, and it can go viral. Like I've posted "make friends not followers." That's literally 4 words, and I posted it 2 times, and every single time I got over 150 likes and like 5K views. So it's just the most low barrier to entry platform ever. But I think the future of creating is that people are getting bored of that, And as you're writing just tweets, there's obviously like a ceiling on how good you can get at writing tweets.
Yeah.
Of course, you can always get have better ideas and have a better background to the tweets you're writing, but the style of writing tweets, there's a limit to how good you can become at writing tweets. Whereas I think if you move on to longer form content like threads or YouTube videos, like look at Mr. Beast. Like what he's doing is just crazy. And there's basically no limit to how far you can go on video content, I think, or how far you can go on longer form content. So, yeah, I think we're moving towards video content. And I've seen Twitter also promoting more video content. So that's
Yeah.
where I think the future of creating is heading.
Yeah, that's super cool. And so I've also seen you've started booking one-on-one calls. What has that transition looked like for you?
I mean, one-on-one calls has been a way for basically getting paid to do customer research. It's amazing. The one-on-one calls, as I said before, I don't really have to earn money, but I do also the one-on-one calls purely out of passion, because talking to like my audience and talking to people who are such big fans that they actually are able to pay me $97 for hopping on a 1 hour call and helping them write a system and hearing their problems too. It's just super valuable both for me and for the person I'm talking to. So yeah, I think it's a super good way to just have a pretty low to entry ticket to get to actually like help my put some effort and help my audience without like having to sell my soul.
Right. We don't want no soul selling around here. Um, so you're 15. You've obviously done a lot more than most 15-year-olds your age. What would you tell like another 15-year-old to either start doing but also to keep that balance? What would you recommend to someone who's 15 doing what you're doing or wanting to do what you're doing?
I would say it depends. There's two camps of 50-year-old kids and those younger than me also. There's the Andrew Tate Sigma male self improvement guys, and there's also the guys who have no idea that they even can build a future, and they actually are able to do that. But to the Sigma males, Andrew Tates, I would say just calm the fuck down. Like I, I I've I've been not I've never been like an undertate kid, but I've been in the absolutely super stressed to make money camp. I've been there, and I'm trying to read. I need to read this many books this week. Of course, I still put the pressure on me to read books because I want to learn, and I think that's super valuable. But there's people are so stressed to build a future that they forget to actually have fun and why they're building a future.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're building a future for ourselves and we're learning and we're reading books because we want to live a happy life. Like the end goal is to be and have enjoy life. But are you really enjoying life if you are sitting and you're working 8 hours a day and you're looking at everyone else that are like having a fun time and you're saying that those people are beta males and those kind of things. um, so I think that to the people who are in my age and are in the Andrew Tate Sigma camp of things, just calm down and stop thinking about making money. Start thinking about actually upgrading yourself. Start lifting weights, maybe start reading more books and prioritize learning. Just prioritize learning is to summarize it up. I would say actually the number one priority for any kid should be learning, because you don't have to make money, but by learning you can always increase your um your chance to make more money in the future when you actually need to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
and and for the people who I said before are like the people have no idea to that they actually can change their life. I would say that the opposite thing to them, that they don't have to worry either. They don't have to start reading a billion books a week either. They can the same advice goes here: learn more and slowly build the habits which will allow you to learn more skills and learn more what actually interests you. If you don't want to read books, don't read books. Listen to podcasts instead. And if you don't want to listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos about where you learn. Like find a way that you really enjoy learning and try to do a little bit of that every single day and learn and just study something that genuinely interests you. Because I think actually studying something that you're genuinely interested by is the best way to learn.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And so, regarding your learning and everything, would you say that you prioritize reading or doing more?
I would actually say I at the moment prioritize reading. It sounds weird when you say it that way, but yeah, I think I would I prioritize learning over actually doing right now.
Mhm.
I've heard so many people say that they don't read because they fear that they can't take action. But that's just dumb. That's just procrastination.
Right.
No, I don't read because I'm scared I can't take action. I think that's just procrastination. I think you definitely can read without having to take action on it. But if you read something that you're genuinely interested by, like I said before, you should do. There's no reason you wouldn't take action on it. Like I recently read a super good book. It was Clear Thinking. It was called,
Hmm.
and it was such a good book. I absolutely loved it. I took a bunch of notes, and um I don't think that it's a conscious choice to always take action and you think, okay, now I'm gonna take action on this thing. I think it's more a thing that naturally happens every time you read a book. It's like placing like a leaf on your knowledge tree that
Hmm.
you can get and you can use that whenever you need to. It's not like you're going to read it and use it as a handbook. You can read that way too if you have a specific problem you want to solve, but at the moment I'm reading as a way to build my you can say build my wisdom or build the knowledge I have in my brain so I can actually use it when I need to.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you say building your knowledge tree. In regards to that, what would you say the base of your knowledge tree has been? Is there a book that's just like better than all the others, or is it like a course or something along those lines?
Atomic Habits, definitely.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's the one everyone reads. It's the one everyone loves. And yeah, Atomic Habits was the first book I ever read. Um, I got into self improvement in such a weird way. I think it was because I started with watching like a investment video on how you can invest money as a teen or some kind of stuff like that. And then I slowly moved into like getting YouTube videos recommended to me about self improvement and those kind of things. So I think the base of my trees it's very mixed. Of course, if you wanted to say one book, definitely Atomic Habits because it's just like it talks about how you improve yourself. It talks about compounding growth. It's just like a super good um, starter handbook or starter pack for anyone like looking to yeah do something in their life ever.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you mentioned starting on YouTube, getting into self improvement really weird ways. Who would you say you like really admire or look up to or mirror in some ways?
I think my biggest mentors at the moment, and not at the moment, but yeah, at the moment, and has been through my entire journey from like when I was 12 or was it 13, 13 I think, when I started the self improvement and improve myself and that kind of thing, to now. It's definitely been at the number one spot. I would probably say Mark Manson because I can really relate to the way he talks and I really like loves his way of explaining things. He doesn't do the bullshit things. He doesn't do like the try to blend everything out with some fluffy stuff. He just says the things that actually work, and he's not too scared to say what he genuinely thinks. So Mark Manson is a person that I really admire, and I take a lot of advice from. And secondly, definitely Ali Abdal has been a super big influence for me. He's the person that got me into reading. He's the person who got me into wanted to start blogging. He later on got me wanting to start a YouTube channel, which ultimately led me to writing on Twitter. So I really have Ali Abdal to thank for a lot of my accomplishments in what I've done. So yeah, Ali Abdal has been probably the number one person, and then after that, Mark Manson.
Yeah, awesome, man. So, kind of going to pivot here a little bit in regards to X and starting on Twitter and everything like that. If you had to restart X from like square one, what would your strategy be to build up to where you are now?
First of all, I probably wouldn't choose X. I would probably choose LinkedIn because the algorithm is just so much better. But if I started X right now, from the beginning, I would probably just, if I wanted, if I, it depends. If I was the person I am right now and I was starting over from zero, I would just try and post one thing every day. Um, Try to meet one new person every day. It can be in the DMs or on a call. Because the best thing I did when I started out on Twitter and growing and that kind of stuff was definitely hopping on calls, um, talking to people, sending DMs, and then you're saying, "All right, sick. Now I want to see your face, and I want to talk to you." So yeah, hopping on calls is definitely something huge. It's not for growth because I've seen so many people like send these fabricated DMs, like copy and pasted, "Yo, you want to hop on a call?" and that kind of stuff. But I don't think that's good. I think you should just send one DM to one person you're genuinely interested by every day. Maybe like comment 20 times every day, post one post every day,
Mm-hmm.
and really try to post threads. I've seen an opportunity with threads recently that they are popping off as hell. I've seen, like, I grew 1.5k from one post in a thread. So yeah, threads have massive potential right now. So that's probably what I would do if I wanted to grow super quickly. But yeah, there's also that the like counting in, you would probably pivot after just posting every single day. You would find more things that interest you that will bring you into like deeper rabbit holes of things. So just post every single day and see where it takes you. Is would probably be my main advice.
Yeah. So you mentioned LinkedIn. Are you creating on LinkedIn? Have you started creating over there, or you plan on it?
I have started a little bit. I've posted. I think I've posted like maybe 6 times or something. But I haven't posted a lot there. But from what I've done, I've posted like, I don't know. What did I say? Like six, three, 4 times or something like that. And I've already grown like 200 followers from it.
Sick.
Like if that happened on Twitter, I would have been absolutely exploded in happiness when I started out. If I got to like 200 followers from posting 3 times when I started out. So yeah, the LinkedIn algorithm is just amazing, and there's also a lot less competition on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Like Twitter is just so competitive. You have to be one of the best to grow quickly on Twitter right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think LinkedIn is really good because of the lack of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Lack of competition, but also you say you posted three, four, five, six, however many times. Would you say that that was also due to your reps you've put in on X and like understanding writing and things like that?
Yeah, yeah, it's a part of that too. Of course, they perform good because I've written on Twitter before and I've learned how to write longer pieces of content. Of course, but I think generally the algorithm is also just better. I think that if you would post something super good on a new account on Twitter, it also doesn't even get the same engagement as on LinkedIn, because of like, yeah, the algorithm is just weird on Twitter, because if you're a small account you will get small engagements. So that's how Twitter works, sadly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Man, I'm like, you sped through these questions. Is there, if there was a question I could have or should have asked you, what would it have been, and how would you have answered that question?
Hmm. I tried to think of something, but the first thing that came to mind would probably be what the biggest opportunity and biggest thing I see creators are not doing at the moment would be.
Yeah, let's do it.
um yeah, I think that the biggest thing many creators are missing at the moment is on Twitter. Then, of course, with yeah, we're talking about Twitter. Um, so I think the biggest thing people are missing is visual content, a visual identity, and a connection to your face, to your content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's one thing I've seen recently. Also, people have been doing more and more, which is good. But I've seen still there's a lack of people who actually do it.
Yeah.
I think that having like posting pictures of your face to your content is so much better than just writing a plain old tweet. Like just text versus a text plus a big picture,
Mm-hmm.
also of your face, which connects like you to your personal brand. It's just so huge. And I've also seen some kind of tweet about like what the algorithm does on the posts that have uh, images on them, and the images and the post with images is usually perform 2x better than normal
Yeah.
post does. So that's also like a huge opportunity. I think more people should post video, and more people should definitely post pictures of their face to the content.
Yeah, definitely. The one thumbnail of yours that I really liked for your one of your threads was the one with like the book tower. That was sick, dude. I loved that.
Yeah,
How long did
I
that
was
take you?
super inspired by YouTube actually. I think
Okay.
it's a super good way if you're writing. I've been writing threads more like you would produce YouTube videos, like especially my last one, like you would create a thumbnail, and there's so many things in threads that people don't really think about that they
Mhm.
think are small details, like especially like with the images. Like I in my last post with the books, like I thought of that one as a thumbnail. You might have seen on my first two threads, they were just like screenshots of me talking, like with my hands up, like something like this or something.
Yeah.
But on the second post, I actually, on my third post, I mean, with the books, I really tried to make a good thumbnail. So I actually copied one from Ali Abdal. I saw one video where he had like the book tower and he poked his head out, and so I thought that was really cool. So I copied that into Twitter because Twitter is not YouTube, and people haven't seen that thumbnail before.
Yeah. So Twitter's not YouTube, but you're using your pivot into YouTube as kind of a differentiate what sets you apart on Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, yeah, because people don't think as tweets as YouTube videos, obviously, but the person who does will definitely stand out.
Mhm.
It's the same thing on. It got me thinking about how Justin Welch grew on LinkedIn. Like he wrote, instead of writing, the long posts on LinkedIn, he just wrote like the tweet similar, like LinkedIn posts that were similar to tweets. And because he brought it from another platform where this way of posting was already confirmed that it works,
Mhm.
but it didn't exist on LinkedIn because yeah, it's LinkedIn, and people didn't know that it existed. So he exported like a already proven viral formula that might be already be super overused on a platform like Twitter, but when he brings it into LinkedIn, it was completely new and it was already proven. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with moving YouTube style content over to Twitter. That's my plan with the 4 threads a week too, than
Yeah.
just YouTube videos, but as threads almost.
Yeah. That's really cool. So as you mentioned that, it kind of makes me more or less try to think of how to say that. I'm really curious as to like where. Nope, I think I lost it.
No
um,
worries.
man, I just thumbnails on X and things like that. What would you say the biggest catalyst has been for you in regards to learning writing?
Consistency.
Consistency.
Consistency, definitely.
Hmm.
Like just posting every day has been the biggest thing, and always looking out for actually trying to learn. I think the thing is people force themselves to write because they've seen someone else tell them to write.
Right.
They maybe came to Twitter because Dan Co told them to. Like the I've had so many friends, not friends like in real life, but friends I've gotten from Twitter that came to Twitter because of Dan Co. But the people who are, this might hurt some feelings for the people, but the people who most normally quit are the guys who came here because Dan Co told them to.
Uh huh.
And I think the reason is because someone told them to do it, and because they admire that person and they think that co is super cool. They take it like an order, and they just write because Dan Co told me to. It might be not be something that they are thinking of in their mind, but it's an underlying like pressure they're having from it. So they don't really enjoy to write, and they just write because they got into writing somehow,
Hmm.
and that way they're not always searching out for how to improve their writing, and they're not always trying to learn, and that kind of stuff, because I think the best way to improve at something is to generally love what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's how I improved at writing. I just love writing and I love creating, and that's why I read books about writing and I read books about psychology and marketing and those kind of things because I want to improve how I create content because creating content is what I love to do.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. I think those feelings need to be heard. I will even admit I did come because I Danko mentioned it, but the difference in that was the fact of like the one pitch in one of his videos was like learn how to think. And I think that's like the biggest, most important part of writing is learning how to actually articulate and materialize what you're learning, what you're doing. Versus everyone's like, oh, I'm gonna make so much money. I'm gonna become the next growth
Yeah.
guru. I'm gonna do all this. So pivoting, talking about that, like, what do you think are the biggest mistakes some of these newer creators hopping on now are making?
Um, yeah, being a Danko copy, definitely. Like, of course, it's not a bad thing in itself. Copying people is definitely how you should learn, but it's when they have been creating for months, but they aren't changing anything. They aren't creating an identity of themselves, and they aren't like making themselves actually stand out and find what they want to talk about. Like in my second week of no, maybe not second, maybe like first month. I'm not gonna over exaggerate, but in my first month of creating online and writing content on like Twitter, I found friends, not followers, because that's how I improved. I hopped on call with people and I made friends. So I found that that was what I wanted to fight for in my content, and that's what I wanted to talk about all the time. But if you have a banner that says "Think deeply, learn how to write," you are just a carbon copy of Dan Co, and you are not making anything meaningful, and you're not adding a your voice and your thought. So I think the biggest mistake that smaller creators make, it's okay to
Oh, hang on. I think you unplugged your mic. Technical difficulties. I can't hear you.
wait. I shifted to my iPhone microphone. Is it working now?
Yes.
Okay, it might be a little bit worse, but at least it works. Um, all right. So where was I? I think we were talking about yeah, exactly. Danko and stealing and stealing and copying someone is not bad in itself, but if you never find your voice out of that, it is bad. I think you should steal like an artist. You should take Danko maybe, but then smash it together with something else and make it your own.
Hmm.
I think what the mistake beginners are making is they're never finding themselves when they're writing.
No, 100%. And you say finding yourself, which man, I cannot believe I'm talking to a 15-year-old right now. I don't like to do that to you, but that's like this is awesome. Obviously you're going to change and evolve, and I think everyone could see that. You're young, I'm young, like everyone changes, everyone evolves. And so where do you see yourself not even inside of creating, but in life in like 5 years and even 10 years, because you mentioned visualizing where you see yourself in 10 years. So tell me a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
I have my goals on my wall here actually.
Okay.
Um, but I think having a vision like that is it's not because you are aiming to reach it. Of course, it would be super good to reach that vision, but having a vision is more like having a direction to where you want to go.
Hmm.
But I think that as I go on and as I keep on evolving and I keep on creating, of course I will probably pivot because I have a very good habit of pivoting when I find a new opportunity or when things are going bad. So I pivot a lot. So it's really hard to predict where I'm going to go. But obviously I love creating, and if I every time I reflect and I look back at like my past and what I do, it basically always ties back to either marketing or creating. And
Hmm.
you could say marketing and creating is basically the same thing because you're creating content when you're marketing.
Hmm.
So I'm probably going to do gonna do content probably because that's just my passion. I've been uploading YouTube videos since I was like 9 years old. Um, and no, not since, but I started uploading videos when I was 9 years old. So I think it will be in terms of either marketing or content creation. I would probably not quit content creation, but I might quit Twitter. That's the thing I think would happen. But in 10 years, I mean, the best thing that could happen is maybe I really want to move to a English speaking country
Hmm.
because I know my English, it works. It you can understand what I'm trying to say, but it is definitely not very um articulate, or I can't really even pronounce, I can't even pronounce words really well. So I think to improve that and to think more in English, I would want to move into an English speaking country, maybe the Great Britain or the USA, are places I wanted to move. But yeah, I would probably move to an English speaking country. I would get a nice office there, have like a content creation team. Um, of course, talking to awesome people on a podcast every 3 times a week would also be awesome. I just really want to learn and create. That's basically my entire mission in life. I want to absorb as much information as I can, like become the smartest person possible, and then share that with people in my content. I
Yeah.
think that's the meaning I have right now in life.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap this up, is there any final thoughts or final like big things you'd like to leave for your audience?
Good question. I mean, if there's one thing to take away from this call, I think the overarching thing we'll be talking about is just enjoy what you're doing. Find something you genuinely like and do it. Because if you genuinely like what you're doing, there's no way you're not gonna win at it. Because
Hmm.
you won't quit and you will always search for to improve. So if there's one thing I'm
Oh,
that you genuinely want to do.
hang on. I did it again. We love technology around here.
Wait, is it working now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying just find something that we genuinely want to do.
Hmm.
That's when I want to leave that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you said everything you wanted to said. You did great.
I did.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, Viggo. This was this
Yeah,
was this was
it's been an
awesome.
awesome time.
Yeah.
I'll see ya.